3, 2, 1. This is MWG Tech, where I bring you the latest and greatest in tech. And today we're going to be talking about my 3 favorite and hopefully upcoming features on the 2019 iPhones. What's going to be the name of these 2019 iPhones? Who is going to guess it? Because I'm surely not. I guess last year that was going to be like the iPhone XS Lite and things like that. But like I'd always get the name wrong every single year. I want to get it right just one time. Like who would have guessed iPhone XS Max? Like they could have named it iPhone XS Plus. But forgetting about the naming scheme, I'm just going to name it iPhone XI or iPhone 11. My 3 features for the iPhone 11, I'll get to them in a second, but the reason I'm making this video is because I went to the Apple Store yesterday and talked with the Apple Store employee for about like 30 minutes or maybe an hour if it took that long. But we talked about what would we want to see on these upcoming 2019 iPhones, and he proposed 2 pretty interesting features that are definitely not included in my wish list because I think they're a couple years away. One of them is the true, and I mean true, wireless charging. Not the one where you put it on a pad and then there's a wire coming out of the pad. No, I'm talking about the one where you just kind of plug in like a little box into an outlet and it just starts sending radiation waves to your phone that charges your phone wirelessly and actually wirelessly. And then this technology has been proven to exist before, but it's so slow. And I honestly think to speed this up a little bit as the technology matures for this true wireless charging, I think it's a couple years away, but wow, that would be exciting. I mean, imagine just walking to a Chipotle or a Starbucks or even an Apple store and you just immediately starts charging your phone because you plugged in that special little box and it's just sending radiation through your body to your phone. I wonder if that has any long-term effects. Another futuristic feature that Chad, the Apple Store employee, told me is that he wants in the upcoming years to have contactless gestures on his iPhone. And this is what I'm talking about. Like you just have with the Face ID sensor that's going to be measuring your hand, and you're going to be able to swipe up from like the bottom of the screen without actually touching the display, and it's going to go back to the home. And like when you want to switch apps, like you know the thing how it goes on the bottom? Well, you would just be able to go like this, whoo, 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 or whoo, and just swipe up back to the top. And then maybe if you want to see your battery percentage, you just go like, okay. I mean, that'll be super cool and probably super hard to implement with just the iPhone as hardware. But when Chad was talking to me, I was like, this is probably something that could be for the AR smart glasses that could come out maybe 2019 or 2020 or 2021. Whenever those Apple AR glasses come out, I was like, okay, that's something could be happening, especially with an extra sensor on the glasses. You could just probably be like, okay, swipe back, and then it could get the sensor 2 ways with the Face ID sensor and a possible sensor on the glasses itself. But that is so futuristic right there. And I have to talk about features that could possibly be realistic for these upcoming iPhones. And the first feature that I would want, and these all features are probably going to sound extremely similar to the iPad Pro. And actually they all are on the iPad Pro. So maybe I should just get an iPad Pro with cellular. But whatever. The first feature I want is that Pro Motion display. And I know the technology hasn't been invented yet for 120 Hz refresh rate on an OLED display. The iPads are LCD. But hopefully Apple can kind of innovate and get this 120 Hz refresh rate on an iPhone. The second feature I want is USB-C. And I know Apple would be making the controversial change, just like removing the headphone jack. They'd be changing to USB-C, but I think this is for the better. Having every single technology to just charge with USB-C would make life so much easier. Just like when you go to the airport and you have to plug in your phone, the airport only has to supply one charger. USB-C. So simple. The third feature that rounds out my top 3 for the most wanted changes in my mind for the 2019 iPhones, and that's that iPhone 5 type of design. The iPad Pro can stand up by itself. My iPhone X or the XS Max or all the 2018 phones can't do that. Ever since the iPhone 5S, they just completely have gone away from this little thick square design on the top and bottom, or this rectangular design, because that's kind of what it is. But I think if they go back to this design, not only could you possibly get a 4000 milliamp battery, but also you just get this nice and smooth finish in your hand that wouldn't be as slippy. You would still have a glass back, but just having those nice firm rounded corners, I think that would be nice to hold in your hand, maybe take some pictures. Just overall, I really am into the iPhone 5 design, especially that forest design with that glass back. Ooh, mwah. Right now I'm just gonna list some features that didn't make my top 3, but would sure be nice to have in iPhone XI or 11, you know the naming scheme, just all over the place. But I would hope for 8K video at 30 frames per second. And hear me out, 8K video is nowhere near to be in everyone's home. If you want an 8K TV right now, that costs around what, like $8,000? And who has the money for that? But hold up, this 8K video at 30 frames per second, because I know they can't do it at 60, imagine the storage. But at 8K at 30 frames per second or 24, I think this would just be Apple showing off their A13 chip. Would this 8K video be practical? Of course not, but so is paying $1,000 for our iPhones. Quickly running down this list, I would of course want the Face ID sensor technology, the infrared sensor, those dot projector, and the front-facing camera to all be under the display to allow for a completely bezel-less design. But that's kind of a couple years back, so I'll just take a smaller notch, maybe just put the front-facing camera and the infrared camera into one. I don't know how that technology would work, but also I would take a triple camera setup on the back with a wide angle one. And I would, of course, why not just add another camera on the front to allow for that wide angle selfie if you have your friends next to you. But if you're alone, you can just switch to that single camera and take your selfie alone. That is all we have for today. Thank you for watching. 3, 2, 1.